Aaron lived alone on the edge of a quiet forest. His small workshop was a collection of metal scraps, old machines, and tools scattered across dusty tables. Most days were the same. He repaired broken gadgets for the villagers who rarely ventured close to his home. He enjoyed the silence. It gave him time to think. He liked understanding how things worked, taking something broken and making it useful again. It was a simple life, and Aaron liked it that way. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the trees, Aaron was adjusting the gears of a small drone. Its propellers had bent in a storm, and he needed them to spin evenly again. The air smelled of wet earth and pine. The forest was calm, filled with the soft sounds of wind brushing through leaves and the occasional call of a night bird. Suddenly, Aaron heard a sound he did not recognize. It was soft, almost like a whisper carried on the wind. He paused, listening carefully. The sound grew clearer. It was a voice, small and shaky, speaking a single word that made his heart jump. "Father." Aaron froze. His hands, still holding the drone parts, hovered in the air. He looked around, but the forest was empty. "Who is there?" he called, his voice steady despite the sudden unease. The only answer was the rustle of leaves and the distant song of a bird. Then he saw her. She stepped out from behind the trees. At first, she seemed like a small child, but her skin was pale in a way that made Aaron blink. Her eyes were large, bright, and a soft shade he could not name. Her hair was silver white, flowing past her shoulders like a waterfall. She looked at him with fear and hope mixed together. "Father," she said again, her voice trembling. "Please." Aaron swallowed. "I think you have the wrong person," he said carefully. "I am not anyone's father." The girl tilted her head, as if confused. She took a small step closer. "You are, my father," she said softly. Her eyes searched his face for confirmation, but Aaron could not understand. She looked exhausted, her small body shivering in the evening air. He noticed her clothes were strange, made of a smooth material that shimmered slightly even in the fading light. Aaron's instincts told him to help. He set the drone down and stepped closer. "Come inside," he said. "You must be tired and hungry. You can rest here." The girl hesitated, then nodded. She followed him silently, walking carefully on the soft forest floor. Her movements were graceful, almost as if she floated over the ground. When they reached his workshop, Aaron opened the door and let her inside. The room smelled of oil and metal, but it was warm. He led her to a wooden chair and offered her water in a metal cup. She drank slowly, her small hands trembling around the cup. Aaron watched her closely. She was clearly not from the nearby village. Something about her was different. Her eyes held intelligence and fear, a combination he had never seen in a human child. "My name is Aaron," he said, trying to ease her tension. "What is your name?" "Myra," she whispered. The word was soft but clear. She repeated it, "Myra." Aaron nodded. "Myra, it is. You are safe here. Can you tell me what happened?" Myra's eyes grew wide, and she shook her head. "Ship, broken. I hide," she said in broken sentences. Her accent was strange, the words uneven but understandable. Aaron felt a chill run down his spine. She said ship, but it sounded like she meant more than a boat. He guessed she meant some kind of craft, something that could travel far and fast. He looked around, but outside, there was nothing to indicate a crash. "Your ship, where is it?" he asked. Myra looked down. She whispered, "Forest, far." Her voice was soft, but there was a hint of fear in it. Aaron could see her shivering, her small frame trembling. She was clearly alone, far from anyone who could help her. Aaron felt a surge of protectiveness. He had spent his life alone, yet he knew he could not ignore her. You will be safe here, he said gently. I will help you. We will fix your ship or find a way for you to return home. Myra's eyes widened again. She looked at him and said simply, Father. Aaron blinked. The word echoed in his mind. He wanted to correct her, to tell her that he was not her father, but the way she said it carried so much trust and hope that he could not bring himself to do it. Instead, he nodded. If that is what you wish to call me, then yes. For now, I will be your father here. Myra smiled faintly. It was the first time he saw her smile, small but warm. Her eyes glistened with something like relief. She let go of her fear and relaxed slightly, leaning back in the chair as if the weight of the world had been lifted. Aaron sat across from her. He watched her quietly while she looked around the workshop. She pointed at a small device on the table, a tiny robot he had been fixing for a village child. What, this? She asked. Aaron smiled. It is a robot. It moves when you tell it. You can try it if you want. He handed it to her. Myra's small fingers wrapped around the device. She pressed a button, and the robot moved a few steps forward. Her eyes sparkled with wonder. She laughed softly, a sound that filled the room like sunlight. Aaron realized that despite all the strangeness, despite the shock of her sudden appearance, he felt something he had not felt in a long time. A sense of purpose. He was no longer just a man repairing machines. He was a protector, a guardian, and perhaps, a father. Night fell outside the workshop, and the forest grew darker. The stars peeked through the gaps in the trees, and Aaron felt a quiet awe. Myra had grown tired and was sitting close to the small heater, staring at the dancing flames. She looked fragile, yet there was a strength in her eyes, something that made him believe she could survive anything. Aaron decided that he would not ask too many questions tonight. Tomorrow, they would figure out her story, her people, and her ship. Tonight, she needed rest, safety, and warmth. He watched her close her eyes, and for the first time, he wondered if life could change so suddenly and still feel right. In that quiet workshop, surrounded by the hum of machines and the soft glow of lamps, a strange new chapter had begun. A young alien girl had called him father, and although he did not fully understand why, Aaron knew one thing with certainty. He would protect her, and together, they would face whatever came next. The morning sun streamed through the small windows of Aaron's workshop, painting the room in golden light. Myra stirred on a makeshift bed near the heater. Her silver-white hair caught the light, shining like strands of moonlight. She blinked slowly and sat up, her small hands brushing the sleep from her eyes. Aaron was already awake, organizing tools on the table. He smiled when he saw her move. "Good morning, Myra," he said gently. "Did you sleep well?" Myra nodded slowly, her large eyes studying him carefully. "Yes," she whispered. "You, here." "I am always here when you wake up," Aaron replied. "You are safe. Do you want something to eat?" She nodded again, and Aaron went to the small kitchen corner. He prepared some bread, fruits, and fresh water. When he returned, Myra was watching him, her eyes filled with curiosity. She had an intensity in her gaze, a quiet desire to understand everything around her. He placed the food on a small table, and she took a piece of bread, holding it delicately between her fingers. You human?" she asked in broken words. "Yes, I am human," Aaron said. "And you are not?" Myra shook her head. "No, not human, far world, my home," her voice trembled slightly. She looked down at the food, unsure how to continue. Aaron nodded, sensing that she might not yet be ready to explain fully. "That is okay," he said. "You do not have to tell me everything at once. We have time." Myra looked up at him again. There was a spark in her eyes, a strange mix of trust and fear. She had called him father the night before, and now she seemed to understand that he would protect her. She took another bite of bread, and her expression softened. After breakfast, Aaron suggested they step outside. The forest was calm in the morning light, the air crisp and fresh. Myra followed him carefully, her small feet barely making a sound on the soft ground. She reached out to touch the leaves and trees, fascinated by the green world around her. Alive, she said softly. Your world, alive. Aaron smiled. Yes, it is alive. Every tree, every plant, every animal has its place. You can touch and explore. Nothing here will hurt you. Myra moved closer to him, and he noticed how cautiously she took in everything. Her eyes darted from one tree to another, from the flowing stream nearby to the small birds singing in the branches. There was wonder in her expression, and for the first time, Aaron realized just how strange and beautiful her perspective must be. Your people, they look like me, she asked after a while. Aaron shook his head. No, not exactly. But people can be kind and brave everywhere. I think you will find goodness here too. Myra nodded slowly, her eyes thoughtful. Kind, brave, like you, she whispered. Aaron felt his chest tighten. He had not expected her words to touch him so deeply. He crouched down to meet her gaze. If I can teach you anything, Myra, it will be that kindness is stronger than fear, and bravery is more important than strength. You already have both, I can see it in your eyes. Her lips curved into a small smile. She looked at him, this human who had become her father in a single night, and for the first time she felt a flicker of hope. She had been lost, alone in a world not her own, but now she felt a connection that gave her courage. As they walked along the edge of the forest, Aaron pointed out birds, insects, and small creatures. Myra listened and asked questions, her voice growing steadier. This fly, small wings, she asked, pointing to a tiny insect. Yes, that is a butterfly, Aaron replied. It flies, even though it is small. That is how life works. Even the smallest things can be strong. Myra nodded seriously. She seemed to understand, her gaze following the butterfly as it floated from flower to flower. She reached out her hand as if she wanted to touch it, but the butterfly flew away. She looked at Aaron with wide eyes. Fly, free, like me. Aaron smiled. Yes, Myra. You are free now. Free to learn, to explore, to be safe. I will help you. They returned to the workshop as the sun climbed higher. Aaron showed her some simple machines, gears, and tools, explaining their purpose. Myra was fascinated. She touched everything carefully, her fingers tracing the smooth metal surfaces. She asked questions, sometimes repeating the words to understand better. Move, turn, like this. Yes, exactly, Aaron said. You are learning fast. You have a curious mind, Myra. That is good. For the next few hours, they worked together. Aaron taught her how to repair small devices, how to assemble pieces, and how to check if they were functioning correctly. Myra listened intently, absorbing every detail. She even managed to fix a small robotic toy with his guidance. When it moved on its own, she laughed with delight, a sound that made Aaron smile. By the afternoon, Myra grew tired and sat on the floor, leaning against the wall. She looked at Aaron and whispered softly, Father, you care. Aaron knelt beside her and nodded. Yes, Myra. I care. I will protect you. You do not have to be afraid here. Myra's eyes filled with tears, but they were tears of relief. She had faced dangers and unknown worlds, but now she felt safe. For the first time since she arrived on Earth, she believed someone truly cared for her. The rest of the day passed quietly. They repaired machines, talked about the forest, and observed small animals. Aaron taught her simple words, and Myra tried to repeat them. She laughed when she made mistakes, and Aaron laughed with her. The bond between them grew stronger with every passing moment. As the sun began to set, Aaron stepped outside to check the workshop door. Myra followed him, holding a small piece of metal she had been working on. She looked at the sky, where the stars began to appear, tiny points of light in the darkening blue. "Your world, big," she said softly. "Many stars, like home." Aaron nodded. "Yes, many stars. And some of them may have people like you. But for now, you are here. You are safe. That is what matters." Myra turned to him, her eyes shining. "Safe, father?" "Yes, Myra," Aaron said. "Safe." She smiled faintly and leaned against him. Aaron placed a hand gently on her shoulder, feeling the weight of responsibility and the warmth of a new connection. He had lived alone for many years, but now his life had changed completely. He was no longer just a man who repaired machines. He was a protector, a teacher, and a father in every way that mattered. As the night grew darker, they sat together outside the workshop, watching the stars appear one by one. Myra's small hand rested in his, and Aaron knew that their bond had formed not by words alone, but by trust, care, and shared moments. He did not yet understand everything about her, her world, or her journey, but he knew one thing. The next morning, Aaron woke early. The workshop was quiet, with only the faint chirping of birds outside. Myra was already awake, sitting by the window and staring at the sky. Her silver-white hair glowed in the morning light, and her pale skin seemed almost translucent as she leaned forward to watch the world outside. "Good morning, Myra," Aaron said softly, walking over with a cup of water. "Did you sleep well?" Myra turned toward him, her large eyes reflecting the soft light. "Yes," she whispered. She paused and pointed at the sky. "Stars, day, gone, night come, many lights." Aaron looked up and smiled. "Yes, the stars are hidden by the sun during the day, but when night falls, you will see them again. They are always there, even if we cannot see them." Myra's expression grew thoughtful. She seemed fascinated by the world around her, by things that Aaron often took for granted. She had been through so much, yet there was an innocence in her curiosity that reminded him why he had chosen to protect her. After breakfast, Aaron suggested a walk through the forest. Myra followed him quietly, careful not to step on the small plants or disturb the animals. The morning air was cool, filled with the scent of pine and wet earth. Birds chirped in the distance, and a small stream bubbled nearby. "Your world, alive," Myra said softly, watching a butterfly land on a flower. "Trees, water, breathe." "Yes," Aaron replied. "Everything here is alive. Every creature, every plant, every stream has a role. Life is connected. That is why we must care for it." Myra nodded slowly. She seemed to absorb every word, her large eyes studying the world around her with fascination. She reached out to touch the water in the stream, giggling when it rippled. "Cold, good," she whispered. They walked deeper into the forest, and Aaron noticed how Myra's eyes kept scanning the sky. There was something in her gaze, a combination of curiosity and concern. He followed her gaze and saw faint streaks of light far above, moving slowly across the sky. They were unlike anything he had ever seen, neither airplanes nor satellites. "What is that?" Myra asked, pointing upward. Aaron studied the lights carefully. "I do not know," he said honestly. "It could be some kind of craft, but it is different from anything on Earth." Myra's small hands trembled slightly. "They, searching, me?" Aaron knelt to meet her eyes. "I do not know for sure, Myra. But if they are, we will be ready. You are safe with me, no matter what comes." Myra nodded, though her eyes reflected worry. She held onto Aaron's hand as they continued through the forest, her steps careful and deliberate. Aaron could sense that she had experienced fear before, and he understood why she clung to him. He did not mind. Protecting her had become more than a choice, it was a responsibility he welcomed. By midday, they returned to the workshop. Aaron decided it was time to teach Myra some basic skills in understanding machines. He wanted her to feel capable, to know she could contribute, even if she was far from her own world. This is a small engine, he explained, showing her the parts carefully laid out on the table. Each piece has a role. When they work together, the machine moves. When one piece is broken, it stops. Myra leaned closer, touching a small gear. Broken, stop, fix. Yes, Aaron said. You can help fix it? You are strong, even if you are small. Myra smiled faintly and nodded. She followed his instructions, carefully turning screws, placing gears, and checking connections. Aaron watched her with pride. She was learning quickly, and her focus showed intelligence beyond her years. As they worked, the faint lights in the sky returned. This time, they were closer, moving with precision. Aaron stepped outside to get a better view. Myra followed him, her small frame standing beside him silently. They, coming? She asked. Aaron shook his head. I do not know, he said. But we must stay calm. Fear makes it harder to think. The lights hovered above the forest, casting strange shadows on the ground. Aaron noticed that they seemed to scan the area, as if searching for something or someone. Myra's hand clutched his sleeve tightly. Do they hurt? She asked, her voice barely audible. Aaron knelt beside her. I will make sure nothing harms you, he said firmly. I promise, Myra. We will face this together. She looked up at him and nodded. There was trust in her eyes, a faith that he felt deeply in his chest. He realized that no matter how strange her world was, or how far she had traveled, she now depended on him. That responsibility gave him courage. Hours passed, and the lights disappeared slowly as the day faded. Myra sat quietly near the window, watching the forest. Aaron continued his work on the machines, but his mind kept returning to the sky. He wondered who or what was searching for Myra, and why. He knew they could not remain unaware forever. Some force from her world might arrive, and when it did, he had to be ready. Myra, he said gently, walking to her side. Do you know why they might be looking for you? Myra shook her head. No, some people, not kind, some kind, yes, peace, her words were broken but meaningful. Aaron understood enough. Some of her people were dangerous, others friendly. That explained the fear in her eyes. Aaron placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. We will learn more. We will stay safe. And if they come, we will face them together. Myra's small hand rested on his. Together, father. Yes, together, Aaron replied. Always together. As night approached, Aaron stepped outside again, looking at the stars. Myra stood beside him, silent and thoughtful. The sky seemed larger than anything they had ever known. He realized that Myra's presence had changed his life completely. The quiet life he had led was gone, replaced by a purpose larger than himself. He was no longer alone. He had someone who depended on him, someone who saw him as a protector, a guide, and a father. Myra glanced up at the stars, and her eyes reflected wonder and concern. She whispered softly, home, far, we'll see, again. Aaron squeezed her hand gently. Yes, Myra. One day you will see your home again. But for now, you are here. You are safe. And together, we will find a way. She smiled faintly, leaning closer to him. Aaron felt a warmth he had never experienced before. Protecting Myra was not just a duty, it was a bond that grew stronger with each passing moment. The unknown could be frightening, but together, they could face anything. The night deepened, and the forest grew quiet. Aaron and Myra sat together, watching the stars slowly emerge. Above, the lights from her world might have been watching, searching, and deciding. But below, in the warmth of a small workshop on the edge of the forest, a connection had formed that was stronger than fear. For the first time, Aaron felt that perhaps the universe had brought Myra to him for a reason. Their journey was only beginning, and whatever secrets the stars held, they would face them as one. Myra's trust, her courage, and her belief in him as her father gave him strength. He knew that no matter what came, they would not face it alone. The next morning, the forest was quiet, bathed in the soft light of early sun. Birds sang their morning songs, and the air smelled of damp earth and pine. Aaron was organizing his workshop when he heard a rustling at the edge of the forest. At first, he thought it was a small animal, but then the sound grew heavier, deliberate, almost human. He set down a tool and walked toward the door cautiously. Myra had been playing nearby with a small mechanical toy Aaron had given her. When she saw him pause, she looked up with wide eyes. "Father," she whispered. Aaron put a finger to his lips and stepped outside. From the shadows of the trees, a figure emerged. At first, Aaron could not believe his eyes. It was tall, graceful, and clearly not human. Her skin was pale like Myra's, and her hair shimmered silver white, falling past her shoulders. Her eyes were sharp and intelligent, but there was an undeniable warmth beneath the stern expression. Myra gasped and jumped to her feet. She ran toward the figure, calling softly, "Mother." The tall alien woman paused, her gaze softening as she looked at Myra. She knelt slightly, bringing herself closer to Myra's level. Her hand rested gently on the girl's shoulder, and Myra clung to her, burying her face against her chest. Aaron stood frozen, unsure how to react. He had expected strangers, perhaps even danger, but not this. The alien's eyes flicked to him, and he felt the weight of her scrutiny. "Who are you?" she asked, her voice calm but firm, like wind cutting through the trees. Aaron swallowed. "My name is Aaron," he said carefully. I found Myra last night. She was alone. I gave her food and shelter. I promised to protect her." The alien woman's eyes narrowed slightly, then softened again as she looked at Myra. "Myra, you are safe," she said, her voice gentler now. "But why, a human?" Myra looked up at Aaron with trust in her eyes. "Father, help me," she said simply. The woman's gaze returned to Aaron. There was a long pause. Aaron could feel the tension in the air. He did not move, but he kept his hands visible, showing no threat. "I am Lyra," the woman said finally, her voice steady. "I am Myra's mother. I have come to bring her home." Myra shook her head, holding onto Aaron's hand. "No, stay, father, safe." Lyra's eyes softened at her daughter's words. She knelt again, placing a hand lightly on Myra's back. "I see," she said softly. "You have been cared for. You are unharmed." Aaron stepped forward cautiously. "I did what anyone would do," he said. "She needed help. She is still a child. She trusted me, and I could not turn her away." Lyra studied him carefully. "You speak truth," she said slowly. "Not all humans would care for a child like this. Many would fear her. Others might try to capture her." Myra's small hand clutched Aaron's sleeve tightly. She looked at her mother and then at him, confusion and hope mixed in her gaze. "Father, stay, please," she whispered. Lyra's expression softened. She looked at Myra's face, then back at Aaron. "You have earned trust," she said finally. "But you must understand. Some of my people are not friendly. they would see Myra as a tool, or worse. You have protected her from that danger. Aaron nodded slowly, understanding the gravity of her words. He had faced many challenges in his life, but this was different. The universe itself had placed him here, and he had a duty to protect this child from forces he did not yet fully understand. Tell me, Lyra continued, how did you find her? Aaron recounted the previous night, how he had heard her voice calling him, how he had found her weak and frightened, and how he had given her food and shelter. Lyra listened quietly, her hands folded in front of her. When he finished, she nodded. You speak honestly. That is rare. Myra's trust in you is genuine. She sees you as a father because you have protected her. Myra's eyes sparkled. Father, protect, always, she said softly. Lyra looked at Aaron with respect. Then for now, she remains safe. I will not take her against her will, not while she trusts you. She stood and looked down at her daughter. Myra, you have found someone who cares for you. This human is unlike others you may meet. But soon, we may need to return to my world. You must be ready. Myra nodded slowly, though her hand did not leave Aaron's. Father, stay. Aaron knelt beside her. I will stay, Myra. You are not alone. We will face whatever comes together. Lyra studied them both. There was a long silence as the three of them regarded each other. Aaron could feel her strength, her intelligence, and her authority. She was formidable, yet her gaze on her daughter was gentle. It was clear that she would fight to protect Myra if necessary. I will observe, Lyra said finally. I will ensure that no harm comes to her. But you must understand, human, that there are dangers beyond this forest. Others may come seeking her. You have shown courage, but you must be prepared. Aaron nodded. I will do whatever it takes, he said. Myra squeezed his hand tightly. Father, strong, like, hero, she whispered. Aaron smiled faintly. He did not see himself as a hero, but her words filled him with purpose. He had never felt so responsible for someone's life. He realized that protecting Myra was no longer just an act of kindness. It was a duty, and one he would carry with all his strength. Lyra watched the small exchange, her eyes softening further. You have done well, she said to Aaron. I see now why Myra trusts you. That trust is not given lightly. You have earned it. Myra's eyes brightened, and she turned to her mother. Stay, father, she asked again, hopeful. Lyra nodded slowly. For now, he stays, she said. But we must plan for what comes next. Your journey is not over, Myra, and neither is ours. But I am grateful that you have someone who cares for you, someone who sees you as you are, not as a tool or a weapon. Aaron felt a sense of relief mixed with determination. He had expected the mother to demand her daughter back immediately, but instead, there was understanding and respect. He realized that this bond between him and Myra, and now recognized by her mother, was important. It might even influence the future of her people's relationship with humans. Myra leaned against him, feeling safe for the first time in what seemed like forever. Aaron placed a hand gently on her shoulder. The forest was quiet around them, but the world beyond it was vast, full of unknown dangers. He knew that challenges lay ahead, but the bond they had formed today would give them strength. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, Aaron, Myra, and Lyra sat together outside the workshop. There was a quiet peace between them, a fragile trust that had been formed in a single morning. Aaron understood that this peace would not last forever, but for now, it was enough. They had each other, and that would be the foundation of their strength in the days to come. The afternoon sun cast long shadows across the forest as Aaron, Myra, and Lyra returned to the workshop. Inside, the air was filled with the soft hum of machines and the smell of oil and metal. Aaron worked quietly on a small device while Myra watched, occasionally touching a gear or turning a screw with his guidance. Lyra observed them both from the doorway, her sharp eyes missing nothing. Aaron sensed her tension. She was not angry, but cautious. It was clear she had questions, and she would not leave until she understood the situation fully. Myra trusts you, Lyra said finally, her voice calm but firm. I can see it in her eyes. But trust is fragile. I need to know why you chose to care for her. Aaron put down his tools and wiped his hands on a cloth. Because she needed help. She was alone, frightened, and vulnerable. No one should be left in that state. I could not turn away. Lyra's gaze remained steady. And if harm had come to her under your care? Aaron met her eyes evenly. I would have protected her. I would have done everything I could to keep her safe. That is what a father does, even if he is not truly her father. Myra looked between them, sensing the seriousness of the conversation. She held onto Aaron's sleeve tightly, her small hand trembling slightly. Father, protect, always, she whispered. Lyra's eyes softened for a moment, then returned to their serious expression. I see, she said. You are not a liar. That is rare. Many humans act with fear or selfishness when faced with my people. You have acted with courage and care. Aaron nodded slowly. I have always believed that courage is not about strength or weapons. It is about doing what is right, even when you are afraid. Myra needed protection, and I gave it. Lyra stepped closer, studying him with intensity. And what do you plan to do now? My people are divided. Some seek peace, but others are dangerous. If word spreads that Myra is here, it could bring trouble. You must understand this, human. I understand, Aaron said firmly. I will protect her. If danger comes, we will face it together. Myra is not alone, and neither am I. Myra's eyes lit up at his words. She looked at her mother and said softly, Father, strong, like hero. Lyra's expression softened again. He is worthy of trust, she murmured. But trust alone may not be enough. You must be prepared for those who do not care for bonds or kindness. Aaron understood the warning. He had faced challenges before, but this was different. The universe itself seemed to be watching, and the dangers were unknown. He looked down at Myra, who clung to his side, and felt a surge of determination. He could not allow her to be taken, harmed, or frightened again. Tell me, Lyra said, what have you learned about her? About her abilities or needs? Aaron thought carefully. She is strong in spirit, even though she is small. She is intelligent and curious. She learns quickly. But she is still a child, and she needs guidance and safety. Lyra nodded slowly. You understand her better than many of my own people. That is remarkable. She trusts you, and that trust can protect her, but you must remain vigilant. The wrong person could harm her in an instant. Myra looked up at her mother. Father, help, always, she said again, her voice firm and certain. Aaron knelt beside her. I will always help you, Myra. No matter what comes, we will face it together. Lyra studied them both. There was a long silence as she considered the bond they shared. Finally, she spoke. Very well. You have proven yourself trustworthy for now. But you must understand that this is only the beginning. My people may come seeking her, and not all will be kind. You must be ready to defend her, to guide her, and to keep her safe. Aaron nodded. I understand. I will not fail her. Myra's small hand rested on his. She smiled faintly, her trust in him unwavering. Aaron felt a warmth in his chest that he had never known before. He realized that protecting Myra was no longer just an act of kindness. It was a duty, a responsibility, and a bond that gave his life new purpose. Lyra's gaze shifted from Myra to Aaron. I will stay for a while, she said. I will observe, to ensure she remains safe and to guide her if necessary. But you must know, human, that the challenges ahead are not small. There are those among my people who see her as a tool, and they will come. You must be ready. Aaron met her eyes evenly. I am ready, he said. I will do whatever it takes to protect her. And I will teach her to face challenges with courage, kindness, and intelligence. She is not alone, and neither am I. Myra smiled faintly, leaning against him. Together, always, she whispered. Lyra's eyes softened. She knelt beside Myra and rested a hand lightly on her daughter's shoulder. Yes, together, she said. But remember, child, the universe is larger than this forest. There are forces that we cannot always see, and you must be prepared for them. Your father has shown you kindness and strength, but you will need your own courage as well. Myra nodded solemnly. She looked at Aaron, then back at her mother. I learn, strong, like father, she said quietly. Aaron felt a sense of pride and responsibility. He had lived alone for many years, but now his life had changed completely. He was no longer just a man repairing machines. He was a protector, a guide, and a father in every way that mattered. The afternoon passed in quiet preparation. Aaron taught Myra small skills for observation and problem solving, while Lyra watched, occasionally offering guidance. Myra absorbed every lesson with determination. She wanted to be capable, to understand the world, and to be ready for whatever might come. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the workshop, Lyra stood and looked at Aaron. You have proven yourself worthy of trust, she said. But do not grow complacent. Trust alone cannot protect her. You must be vigilant, and you must be wise. The future will test you both. Aaron nodded. I understand. I will not fail her. I will face any challenge, any danger, for her sake. Myra held his hand tightly. Father, strong, brave, she whispered. Lyra smiled faintly, her expression softening for her daughter. Yes, she said. Together, you will face what comes. But remember, courage and wisdom must guide you. You are not alone, child. And you are not without guidance, human. Aaron felt a sense of resolve like never before. Myra's trust, her courage, and her mother's cautious approval had given him a purpose stronger than any he had known. He realized that the world beyond the forest would be challenging, but together, they could face it. As night fell, the three of them stood together outside the workshop, watching the stars appear one by one. The forest was quiet, and the air was filled with a sense of calm before the coming challenges. Aaron placed a hand on Myra's shoulder, feeling her warmth and trust. He knew that the days ahead would not be easy, but he was ready. With Myra by his side, and even with her mother watching over them, he would face whatever the universe sent. Courage, kindness, and trust would guide them, and together, they would not be alone. The following morning, the workshop was quiet. Myra sat on a small stool, carefully examining a tiny mechanical device Aaron had given her to repair. Her hands moved with precision, and her silver-white hair fell over her face as she concentrated. Aaron watched her quietly, proud of her growing confidence. Lyra stood by the window, her arms crossed, observing the scene with a thoughtful expression. Myra has adapted quickly, Lyra said softly, breaking the silence. Aaron nodded. She learns fast. She is smart and curious. She wants to understand everything around her. Lyra's eyes softened slightly as she looked at her daughter. Yes, she does. That is why she survived when she was alone. But there is more you must know, human. Myra sees you not only as a protector, but as a father. That is rare. It is not just trust. It is a bond. Aaron felt his chest tighten. He had sensed it already, but hearing it spoken aloud made the weight of his responsibility even clearer. "I will not break that bond," he said firmly. "I will protect her, no matter what comes." Lyra walked closer, her eyes serious. "There is something you must understand. Our people are divided. Some seek peace, as I do. Others seek power and control. They see Myra as more than a child. They see her as a key to influence. If she returns home, she may be in danger. You must understand this, human." Aaron nodded slowly. "I understand. But she is here now, with me. And I will do everything I can to keep her safe." Myra looked up from her device. "Father, danger?" she asked, her voice small but determined. "Yes," Aaron said gently. "But we will face it together. You are not alone. And you are strong. You have courage, and I will guide you." Lyra studied them both, her expression thoughtful. "She has seen you from afar before her ship crashed. She watched humans and learned kindness from your actions. That is why she calls you father. You are more than a protector to her. You are an example of what is good in humanity." Aaron felt a warmth in his chest. He had spent years alone, fixing machines and living quietly. He had never imagined that his simple acts could mean so much. "I only do what I can," he said softly. "Your actions have meaning beyond your understanding," Lyra said. "And that is why the choice you make now matters. Myra's people are not all kind. Some will come to take her. Others will come to test her loyalty. You must decide whether to trust me fully and work with me to guide her, or face this danger alone." Aaron looked at Myra. She was focused, yet her small hands trembled slightly as she held her device. She glanced up at him, her eyes full of trust and expectation. He knew that whatever he chose, it would affect her future. "I trust you," he said finally, turning to Lyra. "We can work together. But I will not let her be harmed. I will protect her, teach her, and guide her. She will not face this alone." Lyra's eyes softened. She nodded slowly. "Then we begin the preparation. Myra must learn about her people, about the dangers that may come. She must understand strength, not just in the body, but in mind and spirit. You have already begun this, but now it will be more important." Myra looked up at them, her silver white hair falling over her shoulders. "Learn, strong, like father?" she asked, her voice small but confident. "Yes," Aaron said. "You will learn to be strong, brave, and wise. You will face challenges, but you will not be alone. We will face them together." Lyra stepped closer and placed a hand lightly on Myra's shoulder. "You have been brave," she said softly. "But there is more ahead. You must understand your own strength, and the choices you will make. Your father will guide you, but you must also decide who you trust and how you act. Your choices matter." Myra nodded seriously. She had learned so much already, but she understood that this was only the beginning. There were forces beyond her knowledge, and she would need courage and wisdom to face them. She looked at Aaron, her small hand reaching for his. "Together," she whispered. "Yes, together," Aaron said firmly, holding her hand. "Always together." Lyra watched the two of them. She could see the bond that had formed, the trust and love that connected them. "Very well," she said. "We will prepare. I will teach Myra what she must know, and you will guide her in what she must do. Together, we will ensure she is ready for the dangers that may come." Aaron nodded. "I will do whatever it takes. I will not let her face harm. She is my responsibility now, and I will honor that." The three of them spent the day preparing. Lyra taught Myra about her people, about the divisions and conflicts that existed, and about the importance of courage and wisdom. Aaron reinforced what he could, showing Myra how to observe carefully, how to make decisions, and how to remain calm under pressure. Myra absorbed every lesson with determination. She asked questions, repeated words to understand, and practiced carefully. Aaron and Lyra watched her closely, guiding her when necessary but allowing her to explore and learn. By the evening, Myra was tired but determined. She had learned new words, new skills, and new ways to think about the dangers around her. She looked at Aaron, her eyes bright and focused. "Father, ready?" she asked. "Yes, Myra," Aaron said gently. "You are ready. But remember, being ready does not mean there will be no challenges. It means you face them with courage and wisdom. We will face them together." Lyra stepped back and nodded. She has learned much today. But there is more to learn. You must remain vigilant, both of you. The universe is large, and not all who come are kind. Trust is important, but so is preparation. Strength, courage, and intelligence will guide you. Aaron felt a sense of resolve. He had lived quietly for many years, but now his life had a purpose larger than anything he had known. Protecting Myra, guiding her, and facing the unknown with her by his side gave him courage. Myra leaned against him, her small hand resting in his. "Together, always?" she asked. "Yes, together," Aaron said firmly. "Always." Lyra watched them one last time as the stars began to appear in the sky. The forest was quiet, but the universe beyond it was vast and unknown. She knew challenges would come, but for now, there was trust, preparation, and a bond that could endure. For the first time, Aaron felt that the universe had given him a true purpose. He would protect Myra, guide her, and face whatever dangers came their way. And he knew that together, with trust, courage, and wisdom, they could face anything. The first light of morning spread across the forest, painting the trees with gold and green. Aaron was already awake, checking the workshop doors and ensuring everything was secure. Myra was sitting on a small stool, quietly arranging her tools and small mechanical parts. Lyra stood nearby, observing her daughter with a mixture of pride and concern. "Today," Lyra said softly, "we begin the next stage. Myra, you have learned much. You know courage, kindness, and wisdom. But now you must understand how to act when choices are difficult. Not all decisions are simple, and sometimes protection means thinking beyond what is immediate." Myra nodded, her silver-white hair falling over her face. "I understand," she whispered. Her eyes were bright and determined. She looked at Aaron. "Father, ready?" Aaron knelt beside her and smiled gently. "Yes, Myra. Together we are ready. We have learned, and we have trust. We will face what comes together." Lyra stepped forward, her eyes scanning the forest. "There are others coming," she said calmly. "You must be prepared. Some will test you. Some may try to take Myra. But courage and wisdom will guide you." Myra tightened her small hand around Aaron's. Strong, like father," she said softly but confidently. Aaron smiled and squeezed her hand. "Yes, Myra. You are strong. You are brave. And you are not alone. We face this together." The three of them moved to the edge of the forest. The sun was higher now, shining brightly through the branches. Aaron felt a shift in the air, a subtle tension that warned him of approaching movement. Myra stayed close, her eyes scanning the trees. Lyra's expression was calm, but her posture suggested readiness. Then, in the distance, faint shapes appeared. They were humanoid but unlike any humans Aaron had ever seen. Their movements were precise, and their eyes were sharp. Lyra's gaze hardened slightly. "They have come," she said. Aaron stepped protectively in front of Myra. "Stay close," he whispered. "No matter what happens, we face this together." The figures approached cautiously. One of them, taller than the others, stepped forward. Aaron recognized the uniform, the markings of authority. This was not a random encounter. They had come specifically for Myra. Lyra moved slightly in front of her daughter, her presence commanding attention. "Stop," she said firmly. "You are here for my daughter. You will not harm her while I am here." The leader paused, studying her carefully. "We come with orders," he said. "Myra must return to her people. It is her duty." Myra looked at Aaron, fear flickering in her eyes. She gripped his sleeve tightly. "Father, help!" Aaron knelt beside her, looking directly at the approaching figures. "She is a child," he said firmly. "She is not a tool or a weapon. She will not be taken against her will. You must leave unless you come peacefully." Lyra stepped forward, her eyes blazing. "I warned you," she said. "No harm will come to her. Myra chooses where she belongs. Respect that choice." There was a tense silence. The leader studied them both, then slowly nodded. "We see that she is protected," he said. "And that her trust has meaning. Very well. We will not force her. But understand this, her people will continue to watch. She is important. Her choices matter greatly." Myra looked up at Aaron, her small face brightening. "Father, safe," she whispered. "Yes, Myra," Aaron said softly. "You are safe. And we will face everything together." The figures retreated, moving carefully through the trees. Lyra watched them leave, her expression softening. She turned to Myra and Aaron. "You have done well," she said. "She has shown her strength, and you have shown yours. The bond you share is strong, and that is what will guide her through the future." Myra hugged Aaron tightly. "Father, always?" she asked. "Yes, always," Aaron said, holding her close. "We face everything together. No matter what." Lyra smiled faintly at the sight. "You have both proven something rare," she said. "Trust, courage, and care. These are stronger than fear or power. Remember this, always. Myra, you are brave, and your father has shown you the meaning of kindness and strength. That is more powerful than any weapon or command." Myra pulled back slightly, her eyes shining with determination. Strong, like father," she repeated. Aaron smiled warmly. "Yes, Myra. Strong in mind, strong in heart, strong in courage. And always together." The forest seemed to breathe around them, calm and peaceful after the tension. Birds sang, the wind rustled the leaves, and the small stream nearby flowed steadily. Aaron felt a sense of hope he had not known in years. Myra was safe, and together they had faced the challenge without fear. Lyra placed a hand on her daughter's shoulder. "Now you understand, Myra," she said. "Your strength is not just in your abilities, but in your choices. The universe is vast, and there will always be challenges. But your bond with your father, and the courage you have shown, will guide you. Trust in yourself, and trust in those who care for you." Myra nodded, looking at Aaron and then at her mother. Ready, strong, always," she said. Aaron felt a deep sense of pride and determination. He had never imagined that his life could change so completely. He was no longer alone. He was a protector, a guide, and a father. And he knew that whatever the future held, he would face it with courage, guided by trust and love. Lyra smiled at them both, her eyes reflecting both pride and hope. "This is a new beginning," she said softly. "For Myra, for you, Aaron, and for the future. The universe will continue to test you, but together, you will endure. Remember, strength is not just in power. It is in courage, wisdom, and trust." Myra hugged Aaron again, feeling safe and strong. "Together, always," she whispered. "Yes," Aaron said, holding her close. Always together. The sun continued to rise, filling the forest with warm light. The day was clear, peaceful, and full of possibility. Aaron, Myra, and Lyra stood together, looking out at the world beyond the trees. They knew challenges would come, but they also knew that trust, courage, and the bonds they had formed were stronger than fear. For the first time in a long while, Aaron felt hope for the future. Myra was safe, learning, and growing. Her mother had shown understanding, and the dangers of the universe were no longer overwhelming. They had faced the unknown and emerged stronger. The three of them remained at the edge of the forest, watching the sun climb higher, the world full of life and possibility. Aaron placed a hand gently on Myra's shoulder, feeling the warmth and trust in her small hand. Together, they were ready for whatever came next.